life stories. Hit that subscribe button to begin today's powerful journey. She walked into that bathroom thinking it would be a normal day. 10 minutes later, 4 boys were on the floor, and the entire school would never be the same. Aaliyah Carter was quiet, brilliant, and invisible to most of Silver Ridge Academy, until the day she wasn't. They thought she was weak. They thought she wouldn't fight back. They were wrong. What began as a moment of survival turned into a national firestorm, shaking the halls of power and exposing the ugly truth beneath one of America's most elite schools. But this story isn't just about a girl who defended herself. It's about every voice that's ever been silenced, and what happens when one of them decides to rise. Stay until the end, because this isn't just a fight, it's a reckoning. Now, let's begin. The bathroom reeked of cheap citrus spray and stale water, the kind of place that felt forgotten by time. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, buzzing like mosquitoes. It was after hours at Silver Ridge Academy, a prestigious prep school nestled deep in Westfield, Connecticut, where the air smelled like old money and secrets were currency. And standing alone in the girls' bathroom, Aaliyah Carter was cornered. Again. 4 boys stood in front of the only exit. Bradley Kingston, tall, arrogant, the golden boy with a smile that fooled teachers and a heart carved from ice, stood with his arms crossed. He leaned casually against the sink like he owned the room, and maybe in a way, he did. After all, his last name was etched onto the school's donor wall. Flanking him like a pack of well-dressed hyenas were Tyler, Mason, and Blake, legacy kids, born into mansions and country clubs. And here they were, grinning at Aaliyah like she was their next entertainment. "You don't belong here, Carter," Bradley said, his voice low and razor sharp. This school wasn't built for charity cases. Aaliyah didn't flinch. Not this time. 6 months ago, she'd transferred into Silver Ridge on a full academic scholarship, one of only 5 black students in the entire school. Straight A's. Top of every class. But no amount of brilliance could erase the whispers, the shoves, the cruel notes slipped into her locker. She had endured it all in silence. Until now. "You hear me?" Bradley stepped forward. "Or do you need Tyler to explain it with smaller words?" Tyler cracked his knuckles and laughed. "She's shaking." Aaliyah's hands were steady. What they didn't know, what none of them ever bothered to find out, was that Aaliyah Carter had been trained to fight since she was 6 years old. Her father, a former Marine, had taught her how to stay composed, how to observe, how to strike when it mattered, and most importantly, how to finish it. "I'm not afraid of you," she said, calm, deadly. That made Bradley pause. "You should be," Mason muttered, stepping forward. But the air shifted. Aaliyah's eyes sharpened. Her breathing slowed. She wasn't the prey tonight. She was the storm. Bradley lunged. Big mistake. In one swift, fluid movement, Aaliyah grabbed his arm, twisted his wrist at just the right angle, and drove her elbow into his ribs with a force that knocked the air from his lungs. He dropped to his knees, gasping. Before Tyler could react, she spun and kicked his knee sideways. It buckled with a sickening crack. He screamed, collapsing to the floor. Mason charged next. Aaliyah ducked low, used his momentum to flip him into a bathroom stall. The door snapped shut behind him with a slam. 3 down, 1 to go. Blake froze. The look in Aaliyah's eyes was not rage. It was control. Precision. Blake had never seen anyone so terrifyingly calm. She took a step toward him. He backed up. Another step. His heel slipped on the wet tile. He turned and bolted. The door flung open as Blake fled, nearly knocking down 2 security guards rushing in. Behind them, a red-faced man stormed in. Principal Kingston, Bradley's father. "What the hell is going on here?" he barked. Aaliyah stood in the center of the chaos, breathing hard, hair tousled, fists clenched. Around her, his son and his friends groaned on the floor like scattered trash. Bradley wheezed, pointing. "She attacked us." Aaliyah scoffed. "Oh, really? That's the story you're going with?" Kingston's cold blue eyes narrowed. "My office. Now." The hallway outside the bathroom buzzed with whispers as Aaliyah walked past. Her face was unreadable, but inside, a storm churned. She had defended herself, but she already knew what was coming. This school didn't care about justice. It cared about names. If you were in Aaliyah's shoes, would you have fought back or stayed silent to avoid trouble? Have you ever seen someone stand up to a bully and change the game? Tell us your story below. Don't miss part 2. Aaliyah faces the wrath of a corrupt system and discovers an ally she never saw coming. But is it too late? Tap follow to be the first to see what happens next. The principal's office smelled of wood polish, stale cigars, and quiet threats. The walls were lined with trophies, none of which belonged to kids like Aaliyah Carter. She sat stiffly in the leather chair across from Principal Kingston, his face as expressionless as the portraits of former deans behind him. The silence was thick. In the far corner, Bradley hunched over, clutching his ribs, pretending to look like the victim he'd never been. Principal Kingston leaned forward slowly, folding his hands like he was about to give a sermon. "Explain yourself," he said, his voice calm, too calm. Aaliyah met his gaze. Unblinking. "They cornered me in the bathroom. I defended myself." "Defended?" Bradley coughed dramatically. "She went psycho on us." Principal Kingston didn't even glance at his son. His eyes remained locked on Aaliyah. "You broke a student's wrist." "I didn't touch his wrist. I kicked his knee." "That's not the point." "Then what is?" She shot back, her voice rising for the first time. "That I didn't just lie down and take it?" There it was, the flicker in his eyes. Annoyance. Not because she was wrong, but because she refused to play her role. He leaned back in his chair. "This school has a zero-tolerance policy for violence, Miss Carter. No exceptions." Aaliyah's stomach dropped. "But you tolerate harassment?" she asked bitterly. "You tolerate months of slurs, of being followed, shoved, mocked. You have no documented complaints, because no one ever listened." Principal Kingston stood. "You're suspended, effective immediately. 3 weeks." Aaliyah felt heat rising in her chest, her fists tightening around the strap of her backpack. She looked over at Bradley, who smirked like a prince whose kingdom had been preserved. She stood up. "No. What you're really saying is, this school has no tolerance for girls like me standing up for themselves." Kingston's smile dropped. "Watch your tone." "You should watch yours," Aaliyah said quietly, turning for the door. "What?" Her mother was already in the front office when Aaliyah walked out. Monica Carter, composed, elegant, but with fire in her eyes. The receptionist behind the desk looked like she wanted to melt into the floor. "What happened?" Monica asked, voice sharp. "Bradley and his goons jumped me. I fought back. I got suspended." Her mother's jaw clenched. "Where's the security footage?" Monica asked the receptionist. The woman hesitated. "I'm sorry, the cameras in that wing weren't working today." "How convenient," Monica muttered. Then another voice cut through the tension. "I saw everything." Both mother and daughter turned. Standing nearby, holding a clipboard, was Isabella Reyes, a senior office assistant, quiet and often invisible. Until now. "I saw the footage," Isabella said, "before it was deleted. I recorded it, just in case." Aaliyah's breath caught. "You what?" Isabella pulled out her phone, glancing nervously over her shoulder. "Knew they'd try to cover it up. I didn't want to get involved, but I couldn't just pretend." She hit play. Clear as day, Bradley and his friends following Aaliyah into the bathroom, cornering her, laughing. The aggression, the shoving. And then, Aaliyah striking back with fierce precision, only after they made the first move. Monica reached for the phone, eyes blazing. "We're taking this to the school board." Isabella nodded. "I'll testify if I have to." For the first time all day, Aaliyah felt something shift inside her. Not relief. Something stronger. She wasn't alone anymore. If you had video proof of someone being wronged, but stepping forward might get you in trouble, would you do it anyway? Why or why not? Part 3 is coming. The truth goes public, the school erupts in chaos, and someone powerful falls hard. But not everyone is ready to let Aaliyah win. What happens when justice starts making enemies? Follow now to see the next chapter of this powerful story unfold. By the next morning, everything had changed. What started as a private injustice in a dingy bathroom had exploded into a wildfire of truth and fury. The video, Isabella's recording, had gone viral overnight. It was posted to a student-run Instagram page, then picked up by TikTok, Twitter, Reddit. Justice for Aaliyah was trending in under 12 hours. The footage spoke louder than any plea could have. It showed Bradley Kingston and his crew laughing, surrounding Aaliyah like predators. It showed her courage, her control, her precision. And it showed what no school administrator could spin, that she had been hunted and she refused to be the prey. Students flooded the hallways of Silver Ridge Academy, buzzing with energy. Some whispered, some stared, some, those who once turned their backs, now nodded at her with silent respect. And then there were the others, the ones who weren't ready for change. In the school board's emergency meeting, tensions ran thick like syrup. Aaliyah sat beside her mother, both composed, unwavering. On the other side of the long table sat Principal Kingston, flanked by lawyers in tailored suits and fear in their eyes. The footage played again, this time on a projection screen as large as the lie it was about to destroy. Gasps filled the room. One of the board members, a former judge, leaned forward. "How long have you had access to this video, Mr. Kingston?" He cleared his throat. "We were unaware." "Unaware?" another interrupted. "Or unwilling to act?" There was a long pause. Aaliyah stared at the man who had tried to silence her. She had no power, no name etched on a donor wall, no legacy. But now, she had the truth, and the world was watching. Within hours, the school made its ruling. Bradley Kingston and his 3 friends were immediately expelled for bullying, physical assault, and hate-based harassment. Principal Kingston was forced to resign, effective immediately. The board expressed deep regret for its prior inaction. Aaliyah's suspension was overturned, her record wiped clean. But that wasn't the part that made her chest tighten. It was what happened when she walked back into school the next day. Students lined the hallway. Some clapped, others raised signs. "We see you, Aaliyah. Speak, fight, rise." And standing near her locker, eyes wide with pride, was Isabella Reyes, the quiet girl who had chosen truth over safety. "You started something," Isabella said softly. Aaliyah shook her head. "We did." That afternoon, Aaliyah was invited to speak at a school-wide assembly. She walked onto the stage, knees shaking, palms damp, but her voice when it came was steady. "I didn't want to be the girl who fought back. I wanted to be the girl who never had to. But sometimes silence becomes too loud to live with. So I stood up, and I'm not asking you to fight in a bathroom. I'm asking you to stand when you see wrong. I'm asking you to be brave, even when it's not safe." The room fell into silence. Then applause. Then a standing ovation. Later that evening, Aaliyah sat on the steps outside the school. The sky was dusky pink. Her phone buzzed endlessly with messages from strangers, from kids in other schools, other countries, some sharing their own stories, some just saying, "Thank you." Isabella plopped down beside her. "You okay?" Aaliyah smiled. "I'm not okay. I'm different. I'm not just surviving here anymore." Isabella nodded, then held up her phone. "This is already at 3.2 million views." "Good," Aaliyah whispered. "Let them all see." She looked up at the sky and breathed in something new. Not air, not relief, power. What did you feel while watching this story unfold? Did something about Aaliyah's journey remind you of someone in your life, or maybe yourself? If this story moved you, comment 100 below and tell us which country you're watching from. Let's show how far the message of courage and justice can travel. Share this story, tag a friend, and remind the world, one voice can start a revolution. Follow us now for more real, powerful stories that need to be told. This isn't just entertainment, this is truth.